마이크 드롭.
안녕하십니까. 미군단 직할부대 쌍용 특임대 병장 김태형 전역을 명받았습니다. 충성! 일단은 저는 군대 오고 난 후 몸과 마음을 다시 한번 생각하고 잡는 그런 시기였다고 생각합니다. 그리고 저는 지금 제 몸과 마음을 다시 만들었고 하루빨리 아미들에게 달려가고 싶습니다. 이렇게 군대를 기다려주신 아미 여러분들한테 정말 감사하다고, 정말 진심으로 정말 감사하다고 얘기를 드리고 싶고, 일단은 조금만 더 기다려주시면은 저희가 정말 멋있는 무대로 다시 돌아오겠습니다. 그리고 이렇게 김남준 병장도 말했다시피 지금 저희 부대에도 저를 많이 챙겨주신 간부님들 그리고 용사들 아직까지 남아있는데 다치지 말고 안전하게 훈련해서 무사히 전역하셨으면 좋겠습니다. 정말 저희 쌍용 군사경찰 특임대, 군사경찰 대테러 특임대 정말 간부님들, 용사들 정말 잘 챙겨주셔서 정말 감사하고 저는 사회에 나가서 좋은 정말 멋있는 그런 사람으로 제가 열심히 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 충성! 그리고 제가 목이 좀 쉬었는데
뭐 똑같을 것 같은데.
무대죠.
네, 공연이 제일 하고 싶습니다. 빨리 앨범 열심히 만들어서
네,
다시 무대로 복귀하도록 하겠습니다.
그렇습니다. 빨리
무대 복귀 그만하고 무대
만들겠습니다.
That morning, the air and soul felt fresher than usual. Dew still clung to the tips of the leaves, and the sky looked clear as if it too was ready to welcome a day long awaited. In front of the military base, a sea of people had filled the area since dawn. Tired faces did nothing to hide the excitement glowing in their eyes waiting for the return of two beloved figures. Banners, light sticks, and posters reading "Welcome back RM and V" waved in the air. Some fans were seen wearing replica military uniforms, sharing in the same spirit and pride. A faint siren echoed from the distance. The gate slowly opened, and a sudden silence fell over the crowd. All eyes focused on two silhouettes beginning to appear. RM and Taehyung stepped out side by side, dressed in full military uniform. They stood tall, their expressions serious, but their eyes sparkled. They carried an aura of confidence and honor, having fulfilled their national duty. Applause and cheers erupted instantly. Many fans began to cry. Some even dropped to the ground, unable to contain the emotions that had been building for so long. Amidst the cheers, Ram stepped forward with a silver trumpet in hand. He paused, looked up at the sky for a moment, then bowed his head in salute before playing the first note. The sound of the trumpet cut through the morning air. A sacred military melody, slow but commanding, seemed to carry all the memories and hardships they had endured over the past 2 years. Taehyung stood beside Ram, his posture firm, though his eyes began to glisten. The gaze of fans and cameras was fixed on them, capturing every second of the beauty unfolding. The piece Ram played wasn't just music. It was a symbol, a meeting of love for country and love for the fans who had faithfully waited. As the melody paused, only the sound of quiet sobs and breathless awe remained. Some fans hugged each other, celebrating a reunion that felt like a shared victory. Arm gently lowered his trumpet, then turned toward Taehyung. They looked at each other, and in that sacred silence, they raised their hands in salute. The gesture was simple, yet deeply meaningful. Two men who had undergone rigorous training, discipline, and sacrifice, now finally home. Taehyung then took the microphone prepared by the organizers. His voice was deep, slightly trembling, but clear. "We're home," he said, and the crowd exploded with joy once again. "Thank you for waiting for us," RM added, standing beside him. "You never left our thoughts, not even for a single day." One by one, they began to greet the fans. Faces they had only seen on phone screens were now right in front of them, real, crying, smiling. Fans called their names over and over, some holding up letters and drawings trying to show just how deeply their love and longing had grown. Rom raised his hand, asking for silence. Then he played one more song, a piece full of memories, Blue and Gray, in instrumental form. This time, the melody struck even deeper. Taehyung softly sang without a microphone, his lips gently moving with the notes. Fans who knew the lyrics whispered along, their voices fragile and heart-wrenching. Several military personnel nearby stood and saluted. They knew the men standing before them were not just celebrities, but fellow soldiers who had served with pride. When the song ended, Yam and Taehyung removed their military caps and bowed to the fans. A simple gesture, but one that would never be forgotten. "We return not just as musicians," RM said, "but as men who are stronger, more ready to stand on the stage of life with all of you." The fans' cheers rose again, this time not just with excitement, but with deep respect. Their idols were not only artists, but also servants of the nation. As the day grew warmer, sunlight cast a golden glow on their uniforms. Cameras captured the moment perfectly, two men in military attire smiling, standing before a sea of love. They didn't walk out of that base as just two pop stars. They stepped forward as symbols of dedication, sincerity, and strength, born from true love for both their country and their fans. And on that day, in that place, a new memory was etched into history. Rom and Taehyung had returned, not as the same men who had left, but as the best versions of themselves. And the world welcomed them with infinite love.
네, 정면이요.
왼쪽도요.
자, 여기도 한 번이요. 왼쪽이요. 마이크 들어가시면 됩니다.
맞을 줄 알았다. 이거 혹시 이렇게 잡아주세요.
분리가 돼버렸다.
네, 안녕하십니까. 오늘 저녁 한 15사단 본부근무대 군악대 소속 병장 김남주입니다. 반갑습니다. 네, 드디어 전역을 했는데 솔직히 저희가 지금 가장 짧은 또 군복무를 하고 있잖아요. 역대.
그렇습니다.
그래서 가장 짧은 군복무 하고 또 여건도 많이 좋아졌고, 근데 이제 가서 이제 뒤늦은 나이에 가서 솔직히 괴롭고 힘든 일도 많았지만 이제 저희가 활동할 동안에 많은 분들이 저희 대신 나라를 지켜주시고 있다는 걸 많이 느꼈던 것 같아요.
그렇습니다.
그래서 저희가 왕성하게 활동하는 동안 많은 분들이 또 전방과 또 후방에서 나라를 지켜주시고 또 싸워주셨기 때문에 저희가 왕성하게 활동할 수 있었다는 걸 다시 한번 느꼈고, 사실 와서 이제 아버지랑 이제 친구들이랑 굉장히 친해졌습니다. 군대를 진작에 갔다 오신 분들이 많아서.
그렇습니다.
그래서 군필자분들과 주변의 군필자분들과 더욱 또 친해질 수 있었던 뜻깊은 시간이었던 것 같고요. 사실 지금 남아있는 또 후임들이 많이 걱정이 되는데 조금만 잘 버텨서 또 사회로 나와서 건강하게 같이 다시 봤으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 저기 아미분들께 너무 기다려주셔서 감사하다고 말씀드리고 싶고요. 다시 와서 사회 BTS의 RM으로서 멋있게 뛰어보도록 하겠습니다. 같이 보살펴 주시고 기다려주시는 모든 분들 너무 감사했습니다. 감사합니다.
한 명씩 한 곡씩 들으실 거고.
아 진짜? 저요? 잘 못하겠어요. 형 이거 드세요. 제가 이거 드세요. 와.